It was a crisp autumn afternoon when the incident happened. My dog, Daisy, a lively golden retriever with a heart of gold, had been frolicking in the backyard, chasing after the squirrels that always seemed to taunt her from the safety of the trees. I was inside, catching up on some reading, when I heard the yelp. It was a sound I had never heard from her before, one of pain and fear. My heart dropped, and I rushed outside to find Daisy limping, her right front paw held gingerly off the ground. "Daisy! What happened?" I called out, my voice tinged with panic as I approached her. Her eyes, usually so full of mischief and joy, were now filled with confusion and pain. She tried to take a step towards me, but whimpered and stopped, her body trembling. I knelt beside her, gently taking her paw in my hands. There was no blood, but it was clear she was in a lot of pain. I tried to examine her paw more closely, but she pulled it back, crying out again. I needed to get her to the vet, and fast. "Daisy, it's okay, girl. We're going to get you some help," I whispered, trying to soothe her as I carefully picked her up. Despite her size, she stayed still in my arms, trusting me completely. I carried her to the car, my mind racing with worry about what could be wrong. As I drove to the vet, every minute felt like an eternity. Daisy lay on the back seat, her eyes following my every move. I kept glancing back at her, trying to reassure her with my voice, but inside, I was terrified. What if it was something serious? What if she needed surgery? I pushed those thoughts aside, focusing on getting her the help she needed. We arrived at the veterinary clinic, and I hurried inside with Daisy in my arms. The receptionist took one look at us and immediately called for a vet. Dr. Stevens, a kind and experienced veterinarian who had taken care of Daisy since she was a puppy, came out to meet us. "What happened?" he asked, his voice calm but urgent as he guided us to an examination room. "I'm not sure," I replied, my voice shaking. "She was playing in the yard, and then I heard her yelp. She can't put any weight on her front paw." Dr. Stevens nodded, his expression serious as he examined Daisy's paw. She whimpered softly, but he spoke to her in soothing tones, trying to keep her calm. "Okay, Daisy, let's see what's going on here," he murmured as he gently probed her paw. After a few moments, he looked up at me. "It looks like she may have sprained it, but we'll need to take some x-rays to be sure." I nodded, feeling a small sense of relief that it might not be anything too serious. Dr. Stevens and a vet tech carefully took Daisy to the x-ray room, leaving me to wait anxiously in the examination room. The minutes ticked by slowly, and I found myself pacing back and forth, my mind filled with worry. Finally, Dr. Stevens returned with Daisy, who seemed a bit more relaxed now. He placed the x-rays on the light board and pointed to the images. "Good news," he said with a reassuring smile. "It's just a sprain. No fractures or breaks. We'll need to keep her off her feet for a while and give her some anti-inflammatory medication to help with the pain and swelling." I let out a sigh of relief, feeling a weight lift off my shoulders. "Thank you, Dr. Stevens. I was so worried." He nodded, giving Daisy a gentle pat on the head. "She's going to be just fine. Just make sure she gets plenty of rest and she'll be back to her old self in no time." I thanked him again and took the medication he prescribed. Daisy was tired and a bit groggy from the exam, but she seemed more comfortable as I carried her back to the car. On the drive home, I kept talking to her, telling her everything was going to be okay and that she just needed to rest. Once we got home, I made a cozy spot for Daisy on the couch where she could rest her paw and still be close to me. She looked up at me with those big, trusting eyes, and I felt a surge of love for my brave girl. The next few days were all about keeping Daisy comfortable and ensuring she didn't put any weight on her injured paw. It wasn't easy. She was used to being active and loved running around the house and yard, but I did my best to keep her entertained with toys and treats, and she seemed to understand that she needed to rest. I stayed by her side as much as possible, working from home and taking breaks to sit with her and give her gentle belly rubs. It was during one of these quiet moments that I realized just how much Daisy meant to me. She wasn't just a pet. She was a loyal companion, a source of joy and comfort, and I was determined to do everything I could to help her heal. As the days turned into weeks, Daisy began to show signs of improvement. The swelling in her paw went down, and she started putting a little more weight on it. Dr. Stevens had given us some exercises to do to help her regain strength and mobility, and we did them diligently. One evening, as I sat on the couch with Daisy's head resting on my lap, I thought about how much we had been through together. From the playful puppy days to this recent scare, she had always been a source of unwavering love and loyalty. I was grateful for every moment we shared, even the challenging ones. Finally, after several weeks of rest and recovery, Daisy was back to her old self. She still had a slight limp, but Dr. Stevens assured me it would fade with time. I was just happy to see her running and playing again, her joyful spirit undiminished. We had learned a lot from this experience. I had learned the importance of being vigilant and attentive to Daisy's needs, and she had learned to trust me even more. Our bond had grown stronger, and I knew we could face anything together. One sunny afternoon, as we played fetch in the yard, I watched Daisy sprint after the ball with her usual enthusiasm. Her paw was healed, and she was as happy as ever. I felt a deep sense of gratitude for the love and companionship she brought into my life. "Daisy, you're a tough one," I said with a smile as she trotted back to me, ball in mouth. She wagged her tail and dropped the ball at my feet, looking up at me with those bright, loving eyes. In that moment, I knew that no matter what challenges we faced, we would always be there for each other. Daisy was more than just a dog. She was family. And as I threw the ball for her once more, I felt a profound sense of peace and joy. We had come through a tough time, but we had done it together, and that was all that mattered. Life returned to its normal rhythm, with Daisy and I enjoying our daily walks and playtime in the yard. But I never forgot the scare we had, and I made sure to keep a closer eye on her, always ready to protect and care for my loyal companion. The bond between us was unbreakable, forged through love, trust, and the shared experiences that had brought us closer together. Daisy had taught me so much about resilience, loyalty, and the simple joys of life, and as we continued our journey together, I knew that every moment with her was a precious gift. Years later, as I looked back on that autumn afternoon when Daisy hurt her paw, I realized how much we had both grown from that experience. It had been a test of our bond, a challenge that we had faced together, and come out stronger for it. Daisy was no longer the energetic young dog she once was, but her spirit was as vibrant as ever. She had aged gracefully, her muzzle now sprinkled with gray, but her eyes still held that same spark of joy and love. We had shared so many adventures, and I cherished every memory we had created. As I sat with Daisy on a warm summer evening, watching the sun set over the horizon, I felt a deep sense of contentment. Life had brought us many challenges, but it had also given us countless moments of happiness and love. Daisy had been there for me through thick and thin, and I had been there for her. In the end, it wasn't just about the moments of crisis or the times of joy. It was about the journey we had shared. Daisy had been more than just a pet. She had been a faithful friend, a confidant, and a source of unconditional love. Our bond was a testament to the enduring power of love and companionship, and it was something that I would carry with me forever. As the stars began to twinkle in the night sky, Daisy rested her head on my lap, and I gently stroked her fur. We had been through so much together, and I knew that no matter what the future held, we would always have each other. And in that moment, with my loyal companion by my side, I felt truly at peace.